Welcome to Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast. I'm Amy Shannon, but you can call me Amy. Thank you for listening. Hello and welcome, and I hope all is well with you. I'm Amy, and today I'm talking about R.J. Eastwood's book, Megastar. It is going to be released on May 1st, and you will be able to purchase the book at that time on Amazon. And I'm sure there will be some other book sites it will be released on. So I had this great chance to, and I love doing this because when an author has um, a release coming up, I get to read their book before it's released, and then I have the pleasure of putting it, posting my review on the date of its release date. It's just one of those things. It's a small thing, but it also lets the author know that someone read their book and this is what they liked about it. So always if you I probably sound like a broken record, but any book that you read, whether you like it or not, and you finish it, um, write a review. And don't write a review for a book that, say, you don't like paranormals or horrors, and then you read one and you don't like it because it's that particular genre. That just doesn't make sense. Why would you read something you're not interested in and then go and say that you weren't interested in the book? Anyways, that is just my little soapbox, and I'm going to move forward with discussing um, Megastar. And it's quite an interesting story. Um, and the description is diving into the mesmerizing world of Megastar and experience a poignant tale of music, love, and love lost. 19-year-old Addison Stone, raised by a mentally unstable single mother, becomes an overnight international singing sensation. Still carrying the scars of his youth, Addison struggles to come to grips with his sudden fame and fortune. Will it suffice to fill the void left by his tumultuous past? And with a twist of fate and a bit of kismet, Addison stumbles upon solace in his extraordinary singing voice. The stage has become his refuge, but amidst the blinding lights and thunderous applause, there's a deafening silence left by the absence of a woman he loved, lost, and hopes to reclaim. As he climbs the ladder to musical acclaim, his heart remains tethered to the past he can never escape. He yearns for the love he once had and the love that a single mistake stole. From mother to son, the legacy of turbulent childhood persists. Journey through the intricate roots of Addison's life as Megastar takes you on a captivating odyssey. And that's the book description. And when the author asked me if I would talk about his book online, I ask for, a elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is one or two sentences about the book without giving it too much away, but making it interesting enough that you would want to go out and pick up that book. So this is the elevator pitch that I asked for, and let's see what R.J. Eastwood has to say. Amidst the blinding lights and thunderous applause of his international singing success, Addison Stone, 19, finds new love. But there's a deafening silence, having lost his new lover to his addiction to his newfound fame and fortune. He sets out on a quest to win her back. So, between the book description and the elevator pitch, we want to see how those fit the story. Those are what fits the story. Personally, because I do reviews. When I ask for a review, I ask for an elevator pitch, and it is mainly because I want to help the author think about what their book's about. Have you ever been asked what your book's about, and you're like, well, there's these characters, and then they do this and that and this. So an elevator pitch makes you think about what your book's about and then how you can explain it. in two sentences. I mean, if you're in an elevator with somebody you want to read your book, you don't have a half an hour to explain everything that's going on in your book. And then if you do, it, you don't want to give away the entire story. So, I asked the author if he had a suggestion on when or what would be a great excerpt to read, and he picked out chapter 8. So I am going to read part of chapter 8 and kind of introduce you to Megastar. Megastar chapter 8. One of the young men was the first to perform. Addison had already forgotten his name. The guy was good and scored well, with the judges giving him 2 out of 4 red buttons. The audience cheered, excuse me. The young lady was next, and she too scored well, receiving 2 red buttons. When the third contestant began, the stage manager came to get Addison. Ready, young man? Yes, sir. There will be a commercial break following this contestant, and then you're on. All 4 judges gave the contestant a good score, but only one gave him a red button. The commercial break began, and Smith led Addison to his position on the rotating stage. It'll be dark back here until the break is over, so be careful and don't move around. Got it, Addison quietly said. So I'm guessing with a little stutter, he's nervous. So that's just commentary. When the break ended, Billy Wonder began Addison's introduction. As Wonder said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Addison Stone." The stage began to rotate. Halfway around, the music for Your Love began. A spotlight struck Addison like a lightning bolt. A chill went through him. Smith had forgotten to inform him that this would happen. He blinked and flinched. Suddenly, the painful years of his youth flashed through his mind. "Stop," he told himself. "Concentrate or you'll blow this." When the rotating stage reached the steps, Addison descended to the stage, took a deep breath, and removed the mic from its stand with his right hand. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. When he opened his eyes, there were no judges, audience, or cameras, just him and his music. He was in his zone, all by himself, following Lang's instructions to keep his gaze just above the heads of the audience. At the end of Your Love, the applause was deafening. The audience was on their feet with hoots, hollers, and whistles. 7 young ladies rushed to the edge of the stage with their hands outstretched, calling Addison's name. Addison looked baffled. He had no idea why they rushed the stage or why they were reaching out to him. The ladies were quickly returned to their seats by 2 security men. When the applause finally subsided, Billy Wonder joined Addison. "It appears, young man, you've captured the hearts of our audience." Addison looked like a petrified doe. "Tell us where you're from." Uh, Addison, Alabama." "You're named after your hometown." "Yes, sir, I am." "Man, that's cool. How come I never thought of that? I could have been Baltimore Wonder." The audience roared with laughter. "Okay, let's hear what our judges have to say. Corey Benson, you get to go first." Corey Benson was a successful singer-songwriter and one of the show's original judges. He stared at Addison for what seemed like an eternity. Addison waiting, shifting uneasily from one foot to the other. "No comments from me." Benson brought his hand down on the red button, which lit. The audience roared, "Wow, home run." "Patricia Reed, your comments, please." Patricia Reed, a well-known songwriter, musician, and music producer, smiled. "Congratulations, young man. You have an amazing gift." She pushed her red button. The audience cheered. "Wow, another home run," Billy Wonder boomed. "Okay, Jack Orwell, go for it, man." Singer Jack Orwell, a famous rock singer, had the #2 song in the country. "I'll make this short and sweet, Billy." He raised his right hand over his shoulder, blowing it slowly, and pushed his red button. Now there was no restraining the audience. They were on their feet cheering. Last but not least, let's hear from the venerable guitar strumming Hank Gorman. Hank Gorman was a top country and western singer. He shook his head from side to side. "What an incredible gift you have, young man." Gorman pressed his red button. All Addison looked bewildered and stared blankly at the audience. He had heard what each judge had said and saw their glowing red lights, but at that moment, it didn't register. Had he heard right? Had he really won? Wow and wow again, Billy Wonder roared. That's all she wrote, baby. He took Addison's right hand and raised it over Addison's head. Addison Stone, you are the newest and brightest star of Sing America Sing. Never in 5 years of this broadcast has any contestant received 4 buttons. The audience roared again, but Addison didn't hear them. He was in a trance. Billy patted Addison on the back. Young man, this audience and those watching around the world will get the pleasure of hearing you sing a second number. What will it be? Addison hesitated. Time to say goodbye. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's powerhouse winner, Addison Stone, singing appropriately, Time to Say Goodbye. Addison's mind was racing. Yes, I won. I really did. Now bring it home. Addie, bring it home. He withdrew into himself again and sang, Time to Say Goodbye. The audience remained standing, singing with Addison, others cheering him on. Then, as quickly as begun, it was over. He had caught that high fly ball with both hands. So I will leave at that. And that seems like that is the beginning of Addison's career. So it's just kind of like a teaser of, this is chapter 8. So what information will we get from about Addison in the 7 chapters before this one? So I find it's always interesting to look back and reread some portions. Sometimes you forget. Anyway, this is a book that I didn't really want to put down. And then I did go back and, some things you just kind of want to reread to make sure you got them straight, especially when it comes to Addison's backstories and his relationship with his mother and others. I reviewed Eastwood's Megastar, and normally I don't release my review until its release date, but it will be released on May 1st, so it's not too far away, and I gave it 5 stars. R.J. Eastwood writes a sensational dramatic tale with Megastar. In Megastar, the reader is introduced to Addison, a young man who, despite his upbringing, becomes a famous singer almost overnight. I haven't read anything by this author before, and what a hidden gem. I enjoyed it so much that I follow the author and look for more books to read. I found the story has a fast pace, and sometimes when needed, it's slow, so you can catch up, and the characters can even take a breath. Addison suffers, but he tries to embrace his newfound fame. His childhood has created scars, some that will never go away. His music is a solace for him, but the fame and fortune is something he tries to deal with. The story is an emotional roller coaster filled with twists and turns and things that seem upside down. Eastwood not only tells the story, but shows it with words as well. It's a wondrous trail of words. Megastar is embraceable and an unforgettable read. The story has so many levels and brings childhood scars to the surface, affecting who Addison is and who he wants to be. So, again, R.J. Eastwood's book, Megastar, will be released on May 1st. So make sure you go out and you get your copy. Go online, get your copy. And if you're an author who wants your book to be on the show, go to Amy's Bookshelf Reviews /podcast for more information. Welcome to Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast. I'm Amy Shannon, but you can call me Amy. Thank you for listening. This has been Amy's Bookshelf Reviews podcast. Thank you for listening. And always, be kind and stay safe. Thank you. If you're an author and you want your book reviewed, go to amysbookshelfreviews.com for more information. Thank you, and I'll talk to you next week.